The thumbnail image to your listings on Etsy is what I would argue to be one of the most important parts of your listing. The reason being, this is your first impression, and the goal of your thumbnail image is to get a customer to click onto your listing and ultimately buy that product. If you don't have a strong thumbnail image, then you're probably not going to see a lot of clicks into your listing or views on your listings. Today's video is the second episode in a series that I've started on my channel called Creating Listings That Convert. In the first video, we talked about your listing images as a whole, and we broke down the 5 listing images that you should be including inside of your listings each and every time to convert customers to buyers. And in this video, we are going to specifically just talk about that first listing image, your thumbnail image. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Taylor. I am a print-on-demand entrepreneur who has been selling on Etsy for almost 2 years now. Coming up in October will be my 2-year Etsy anniversary. Just this year alone, I've sold over $84,000 on Etsy and have scaled my business in the last almost 2 years to multi-6 figures. If you like videos talking about print-on-demand, passive income, and entrepreneurship, then be sure to boop the subscribe button down below so that you do not miss out on any future videos. We know our thumbnail images are important, but how do we figure out what they should look like and what we should potentially include in our thumbnail images? The best way to identify what types of thumbnail images perform best is to dive directly into the product type that you're looking to sell and even the niches that you're looking to sell in. For example, say you're looking to sell t-shirts. I'm gonna just type in a broad search term. We'll type in women's t-shirts. And here we can start to identify the common components that we're seeing other popular listings and best-selling listings using in their thumbnail images. I can start to identify things like the type of mock-up image being used. In this first row, we can see all of these mock-up images for these t-shirts are flat lay mock-ups, meaning they're just the product laying flat on a surface. The next row, we can see a few lifestyle mock-ups, which is just showcasing the t-shirt on a model who's wearing the product. We also can pay attention to the colors or variations of the product that we're looking at. In this example, some common colors that I'm noticing is we have the dark gray heather variation in these 2 listings here, as well as this looks like the comfort colors pepper mock-up. There's 2 listings that are in more of that natural or ivory color variation. Here's a listing that actually showcases the front and back of the product because they do have prints on both sides. If I'm looking to offer this type of style, it could be a great thing to make note of how they have shown this design style. This listing features a little pop-up just showing the color variation that's being offered. And I also noticed down here, this listing right here actually has a little bit of a different way of showing the front and back print that's available on their product. They have it just in a circular frame at the bottom of the listing image here. And they do highlight at the top that this is a Comfort Colors brand shirt. We can repeat this process for any product type. So you don't just necessarily have to sell t-shirts, whatever product type you are looking to pursue. That's where I recommend you do this research. Maybe we'll take a look at some mugs as another example. With mugs, something that I'm noticing is there are quite a few listings that have a little insert just showing a highlight of the product, similar to the Comfort Colors shirt that we saw where they highlighted that that was a Comfort Colors brand shirt. This mug shows that this is a personalized gift, just some keywords that might get a potential buyer a little bit more interested. Here's something similar. They just have a little added your photo here. This listing has that it is custom engraved. Of course, this isn't something necessarily that can be done with print on demand, at least not currently. But again, they're just highlighting a feature of the product that they're selling. Now, if we want to take this research up a notch, what I recommend is we can go over to the product analytics. This is using Everbee, which I have a link to in the description. What we can actually do here is if we scroll to the far right, I'm going to filter by conversion rate. So I'm going to click that twice. If we want a thumbnail image that sticks out, something that is getting clicks and click-worthy and sale-worthy, we need to look at what is performing the best. And I think the best metric to identify here with these listings are the ones that have the highest conversion rate, because ultimately that's what we're trying to recreate here. This very first listing, diving into it, this is for a personalized 20-ounce tumbler. They just showcase 3 different variations across their thumbnail image. Something that I could pull away from this, if I'm offering this product type, maybe I want to showcase a few different variations in that main thumbnail image. Clearly, this is something that's working really well for them. The second listing here has a conversion rate of nearly 5%, and just taking a look at this listing for their thumbnail image, they highlight that the product is dishwasher safe and that other fonts are available. With a mug like this, I do want to just err a side of caution. Etsy recently did update their terms of service and requirements for listings, and when it comes to custom product listings, you are still perfectly fine to use a mock-up image. However, you do have to show the finished version or what a finished version might look like, avoiding what I'll call placeholder text. So that's something like what you see here that says your words here or custom text here. That would be an example of placeholder text. And so instead you would want to show an example of maybe a phrase or something that could be printed on the mug. We'll take a peek at just one more listing here. This next listing has an average conversion rate of 4.93%. Really anything over 3% is well above average. Here's another custom listing. They have a highlight that this ships next day. So just to recap, these are some of the things that we're able to identify as maybe some elements that we could pull from popular best-selling listings with high conversion rates that we were able to see from Everbee and use those same components and elements to recreate our thumbnail images and hopefully create a high converting thumbnail image ourselves. Next, I want to talk about some common thumbnail image mistakes that I see new print-on-demand sellers making that is really hurting their conversion rate for their listings. The first is not being able to read or see really what's on their product. Usually this is a result of being too zoomed out from their product type. Here are some examples of what this can look like. We have to remember that a lot of times when we're creating our thumbnail image, we are creating it often maybe on a laptop or computer, something with a bigger screen. But a majority of Etsy customers are often shopping on their phone. And if they're shopping on their phone, this is a much smaller screen, which means your thumbnail image is also going to be much, much smaller. And if it's already super zoomed out, it's gonna make it even more difficult for a potential customer scrolling the search results to see your product and understand what you're selling, what the graphic is, what it might say if it has a phrase or quote on it as well. Contrary to the first mistake, the second mistake that I see is being too zoomed in. So we've got to find the middle ground here. And looking at some of the listings that we found when we were doing our research earlier in this video, we could see really great examples, and I'll showcase some of them here, where they're zoomed in enough to understand what the graphic and what the item says. However, you also can get a full picture of what you're buying and what the product even is. Here are some examples where I've seen the listing image just far too zoomed in. If you are too zoomed in on your mockups and you can only see the design that you're selling and not the actual product, odds are they're not going to click into it to even find out. They're probably going to just continue scrolling past, and this could be something that's hurting your conversion rate. One of the components that we saw when we were doing our research is some type of product highlight or even call to action on that main thumbnail image. However, a mistake that I see being done with this is maybe using a font that isn't really legible to a potential customer, or maybe making these call to actions a bit too small where again, somebody's not able to read it. Another mistake that I see often being made is putting too many product highlights on that listing image. When we start to clutter that main image, it starts to feel a little bit tacky and it's hard to focus on one particular thing because there's so many things to look at. If you are adding any highlights to your thumbnail image, another thing to consider is the color choice that you are using to highlight these highlights. Be sure to consider your target customer and to be using colors that are going to resonate with your target customer, and maybe they don't necessarily reflect your personal taste. No offense, but sometimes I see sellers using colors that they just personally like. And sometimes there's certain colors that don't necessarily always connect with your target customer. When in doubt, just choose easy to read, neutral colors. Now, I have 2 bonus tips that I want to share with you that can really help your thumbnail images really stand out in the search results. The first is to be sure that you are including a listing video in your listing. The reason that this is so important with your thumbnail image is because when a buyer is searching through the Etsy search results and they hover over your listing video will automatically play, and this movement is something that catches a buyer's eye and drives their eyeballs to your listing. This is super easy to do. Let me show you how. First, you are going to jump into Canva and you are going to start by creating a design. I like to just make my listing images in general, my thumbnail image, all of my listing images, and my listing videos 2000 by 2000. The reason being is your thumbnail image is actually going to show up as a square, and I find it easiest to just make all of my listing images a square so that I don't have to worry about anything being potentially cut off or only half shown depending on what I'm including on my thumbnail image. In your design here, what I recommend is to bring in and paste one of your mock-up images for your product. With Canva, we can actually add animations. So if you're looking to add any type of call to action and highlight about your product, I like to personally just come in over to the side here, grab one of these shapes, and we will drag this up to the top. I'm going to change the color because again, I want to make sure that this stands out, but also make sure that it just isn't ugly, for lack of a better word. We'll just make it a pretty green like that. And let's add in some text. We'll say maybe a highlight of this product is that we have free shipping on it. What I can do now to create this into a video is just highlight this. I'm gonna group it together and use this animate function. And you can play around with any of these animations, of course, but I'm gonna do this. We'll have it slide in. And so now when a customer hovers over this video, I'm gonna slow this down a little bit. You can see how the free shipping slides in from the side, going to capture some attention when somebody hovers over this thumbnail image. This is just one example. You can really get creative with this. Another great example for your listing video could be maybe to show some different color variations of the product that you offer, or if maybe there's different variations in what the product says or just looks like in any type of way, you could highlight that in your listing video as well. For this example, if I were to maybe highlight 4 different mock-up images, I could get rid of this and we'll just pretend this is a different one, but I could just paste this in like so and have 4 different examples. And then maybe I grab a circle this time. We'll make it green again and I'll put that in the middle. And how about we add some text that says multiple colors available. Did I spell that right? Okay, I think I spelled that right. If not, roast me in the comments. Now, similar to what we did with the free shipping tag, I'm gonna group this together so that it is just one graphic, and then let's go to animate, and maybe for this I'll add the pop animation. And now when somebody hovers over the listing, they will see 4 variations of the product that I'm offering and the little pop-up that just says multiple colors available. To export this, what you are going to do is click share and download. You are going to download this file as an MP4 video. You do not have to change this quality bar at all, just leaving it at 2000 by 2000. That will upload perfectly fine into your Etsy listings. My second bonus tip and little hack for you to really make sure that your thumbnail images are standing out is to create yourself a mock feed. What I mean by this is similar to when we were doing research in the beginning of the video and I was looking at kind of my competition and competitors in the product types or niches that I'm looking to create a product for and identifying those certain components of the thumbnail images that seem to be converting at the highest rate. What I can do with my thumbnail image is actually compare it alongside of those in a mock feed. How I create a mock feed, jumping onto Etsy, what I will do is actually just take a screenshot. I like to take a screenshot of just 2 rows of listing images in the niche that I am looking to sell in. That is important. So for example, I'm going to be testing my thumbnail image for a mom t-shirt. So I have pulled up some listings that are ranking on the first page of search results for that niche. You would do this process for the product type and for the niche that you're looking to explore. But I'm gonna just take that screenshot, and then from there, I can actually go back to Canva. And what we're going to do with that screenshot, I'm going to create a design, import file, take my screenshot and open it up. We can see the screenshot here, the dimensions of the screenshot. I'm gonna click use in a new design, custom size, and I'm going to match the dimensions to what it is stating the screenshot is right here. Create new design. And now what I'm gonna do from here is go into elements, and I am going to pull out a square frame. This square frame, I'm gonna use it to replace one of the listing images in our mock feed. And really the role of this frame is to put in my mock-up image and see how does it look compared to the other listings in the niche that I'm looking to explore. This is something that you can do time and time again. I think it's very helpful in identifying where there might be opportunities with your thumbnail images and making sure that they stand out. So I just adjusted that frame to fit into one of these squares. It really doesn't matter which square, just pick whichever one you feel. I've uploaded in the mock-up image that I'm interested in making my main thumbnail image, and all I have to do now is just drag and drop, and voila, there is my mock-up image showing as a thumbnail image in the search results that I'm looking to be in and compete with. This is by far my favorite tip when it comes to testing my thumbnail images and really just looking at where I might have an opportunity to improve them. I also really like this for looking at my design that I created compared to what the other designs look like in the search results. I think it has just helped me become a better designer. And I also feel like it's really helped me to become a lot more unique and original with the things that I'm creating by comparing it to what else is out there. Be sure to check out the first video in this series discussing the 5 listing images that you should be including in every listing that you create, no matter the product type. And if you're looking for more in-depth trainings on these types of topics, then check out the POD Connection. The POD Connection is my mentorship group and community where you have the ability to work with me one-on-one, and we can discuss a specific strategy for growing your print-on-demand business. Inside the community, we also have a resource vault with, I think we're at over 17 or 18 hours worth of trainings and videos for you to dive into, so you can literally sign up and immediately get access to all of those previous recorded trainings. And we have ongoing trainings each month, so it's continuously growing. If you are interested in the POD Connection, I will have a link to join in the description box below. If you've been considering or on the fence about joining, now is the time, as the doors will be closing on September 30th and will not be reopening until the new year. If you're looking to grow and really scale out your print-on-demand business this Q4 season, then be sure to check that out below. I hope you found value in this video and learned a thing or maybe 2 about your thumbnail images and how to optimize them for conversion on Etsy. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.